everyone, welcome back to my channel. So starting out with a shirt that I burned all of the right hand side of, I'm going to be taking a bold cap and I'm going to cut it straight down the center where the fold line is, just with a pair of scissors. Then I'm going to place this on my head, and to secure it I'm going to be using 2 to 3 bobby pins and pinning it down to the center and back of my head. This is just going to hold it in place while we start to adhere it to our face with latex. Then I'm just going to swoop all of my hair onto the opposite side of my head. Now I'm going to cut myself out an ear hole, so it doesn't really matter how rough it is because we're going to cover this whole thing up anyway, so just roughly cut it out, but of course be very careful of your ear while doing this. Then I'm just going to get any of my hair that is still on the opposite side of my head, and I'm going to take a large clip and clip that back. This is going to really help when we are trying to glue the bowl cap down. Then I'm going in with liquid latex and I'm going to be pouring that out into a little plastic plate, and I'm going to be taking a Q-tip to apply it. Of course, with latex you need to be very careful of your hairline, so make sure you don't get any of this anywhere near your eyebrows or your hair. Then I'm just going to pat that down onto my head, and if you still feel like you need to cut off a little bit more excess, then you can go ahead and cut off a little bit more of the bowl cap. Then I'm just going to continue layering latex over the top of the bowl cap until I feel like it's blended nicely into the skin. So you do have to repeat the same step on the back of your neck, so get somebody to help you out with this. Because I did this by myself, I just left the clip there to hold it in place, but yeah, again, you would just ask somebody to help you with the back of your head. So now starting on the face, I'm going to apply a very thin layer of liquid latex onto my cheekbone area, and in this tutorial I'm using cotton wool, and I'm going to rip it up into a very fine consistency, almost like fairy floss or cotton candy. And then I'm just going to take a Q-tip, because it's going to give us a lot more texture than a sponge would, and I'm going to start swirling that around and trying to give a muscle and burnt flesh tone kind of pattern. And you want to go really sparse with the latex on this, because the latex is only to give it texture again. It's not going to be holding it down or setting it in any way. So as I said, less is always more with latex, so I'm going to just quickly zoom in to show you guys what I mean by creating a really textured surface. So as you can see, I'm trying to pull the strands to really give a really muscle and textured feel to the cotton wool. I'm not just layering it up. But in certain parts of my face I am, like the cheekbone area and a little bit under the jawbone as well, but that's up to you to decide where you would like it to be more higher and lower in certain places, but this is the general texture that we're doing all over. Now whenever it comes to applying it near your hair, again I said just please be very careful if you're going to be doing this tutorial. And as far as the bobby pins go, I'm just going to apply latex and wool straight over the top of the bobby pins, because it's just going to hide them nicely in, and it's also going to keep the bowl cap on our head. And as far as the ear goes, I didn't want to block out my ear for this tutorial. I felt that I liked it more with the ear. I kind of just made it look like the ear was hanging off as well. Latex dries really slowly, so while I'm waiting for the rest of the face to dry, as you can see the yellow parts are dry and the white parts are still very wet, I'm going to go in with a pair of tweezers and start to rip open the mouth area. So this is where I'm going to be applying the teeth on the inside of the little jaw that I'm creating, so you can make this as big or as small as you want. So I'm going to leave the mouth for now and move on to the brows. So I'm going to be taking some masking tape, and this is my new favorite way of blocking out my eyebrows. It's really easy. All you do is take masking tape and cut it into thin strips, then apply 2 strips together on the sticky side. This is just going to take out any stickiness. And then I just want to measure it up to my eyebrow. Then I'm just going to take 2 normal pieces of masking tape and stick that to my face. This is a really easy, really quick way of covering your eyebrows, and you are 100% sure that they're not going to get ripped out by latex by doing this. So then after that, I then applied latex straight over the top of the masking tape, and I really feel like this is the safest way to do it. Then I'm just going to very gently apply a little bit of latex on my eyelid as well, just to blend the cotton wool down. I've also applied some on my neck area as well. Now I'm moving on to the teeth. So taking acrylic nails, I cut them up into the size that I really thought the teeth would look realistic with. Then I'm going to apply a little bit of latex and cotton wool because the teeth are the hardest thing to stick on. So I'm applying a little bit of wool and a little bit of latex on the inside of the gums. Then on top of that, it just gives it kind of like a padding to apply the teeth onto, and you just go ahead and apply the teeth as you would. You just stick them on pretty much and press them firmly into the wool. So I'll give you guys a close-up of the teeth. So that's the first row done, and this is the second row, so they're all done there. Now that the latex is completely dry, I'm going in with Ben Nye's neutral set and an old fluffy brush, and I'm just going to pack this on all over the prosthetic just to make sure that it's nice and set. And I really like this because it just makes it a lot more matte and it completely blocks out any of the shininess. So this is the prosthetic completely done with no paint on it. Now for paints, I'm going in with the Ben Nye stackable grease paints, and the first colour I'm going to be taking is Capillary Stipple. And whenever I paint my prosthetics, I always use a paintbrush that I have especially for makeup. So now I'm going in and I'm just applying this everywhere as a base coat. This is just going to be the undertones for all of the shading. Then going in with the colour Burnt Coral, this is a perfect skin irritated colour, and I'm going to apply this down the centre of my face and my neck, and then I'm going to blend it out with a sponge to really give my skin that irritated feel where the burnt side of my face is meeting the normal side of my face. Then going in with the colour Maroon, I'm going to start applying this into the hollows of my face where I want to start doing the more deeper and darker shades. Now with this whole tutorial, I'm just going to slowly build up the colour because you don't want to spend all of this time and effort and then ruin it just by packing on a whole load of dark colours. So I'm going to slowly start building it up with the deeper colours, and starting out with the colour Maroon, I'm just going to apply that in all of the places I want to draw back from the light. Then I'm just going to be taking whatever's left over and applying it in the gum area as well. Then I went in with the colour Blue because I really felt like it would change it up from the black, and I applied this in little blobs all over the face and head area just to give it a little bit more of a colour range and to make it look a lot more realistic as well, like burnt charcoal skin that's all blistered and gross. So again, I kind of just randomly splotched this everywhere just to give it a little bit more variety of colour. Then I went in with a clean brush, of course, and a white colour. Now I'm going to be just applying this in little areas to give it a little bit of a highlight and sort of like an ash touch to it, like it's extremely burnt in those areas. I don't know, I thought it looked really good having that little bit of white just spread throughout it. Not too much though. Then I'm going in with black, and you don't want to overdo it on the black as I said, but I'm going to be going in and applying this around the little white areas that I made, and also just to darken up the whole look a little bit, but again, you don't want to go crazy with this because it'll just ruin all your hard work. Then going in with the colour Capillary Stipple again and a small fine brush, I'm going to go in between the teeth and just create the gums so it looks a lot more realistic, but you don't want to go too crazy with this. To tone down the teeth, I took a yellow and applied a really small amount on each tooth just to give it an off-white colour. I didn't want them to be too pearly white. Then I went in with a very fine brush again and a black colour and applied this in between the teeth where they meet. This just is going to give it a little bit more shading. I'm not applying this in between the teeth though, or the gum line area. So now I'm going in with that burnt coral again, and I'm just retopping up the irritated skin because I felt like it wasn't irritated enough for me, and I just applied a massive amount down the center of my face. Then I heavily blended this out with some cotton wool because it picked up the product and it also smudged it around really well. Not like a sponge doesn't really absorb grease paints. So this is what I've got so far without any blood, and I'm still really impressed with it. Now for bloods, I used a variety of different types of bloods in different textures and colours. The first one that I'm going to start out with is the Ben Nye Fresh Scab blood, which is a coagulated thick gel blood, and I'm only going to be applying this very sparsely throughout the prosthetic just to give it a little bit more texture, but I'm not really focusing on the colour at all. Then purely for colour, I'm going in with Ben Nye's Dark Blood, not the Sage Blood, the Dark Blood, and pouring this out into a plate. I'm going to apply this in certain areas as well, just with a Q-tip, because again, I don't want to apply too much blood. You can very easily ruin all of your hard work by applying way too much blood. And I really feel like this gives it a nice glossy tone and brings the whole look to life. It keeps it from being just flat. Then to finish off the blood, I went in with this really bright red blood spray, and it's just a watered down blood in a spray bottle, and I just sprayed that in certain areas as well, again to give it a nice little colour and texture. Then to finish off the look, I just went in with a mascara and applied it just to darken up my lashes because I felt like they weren't dark enough for me. But that's it guys, that is the whole tutorial. It's actually a very easy look, it's just very time consuming. So I hope you guys all enjoyed, and please don't forget to like and subscribe if you are excited for my Batman series. Also, if you guys try out any of my looks, please don't forget to tag me on Instagram, I would really love to see them. And yeah, until next time guys, see you later, thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay safe. Bye!